microphones. I might have to use the crackly, staticky 1920s. Welcome to Mr.B stream. Tap the mic. Anyway, happy Sunday, 3/8/26. Friends happy this morning, 11/11. Wink, wink. Already walked the dog, took him to the lake. I realized yesterday, I don't know how, normally I believe because I'm so used to waking up super early, walking the dog before the sun comes out, that yesterday somehow my body just assumed I had already walked the dog and I didn't go on a walk with the dog. I felt really bad. So today I took a long walk by the lake with the dog in the morning. It was very nice. Sun was coming out. A lot of ducks, a lot of sniffing, a lot of jumping up on logs. So it was good, a very good morning. I've been thinking, again, I'm just trying to be better every day, guys. So I try to think about where can I be better every day when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to family, when it comes to me and my dog, when it comes to, anyway, I've been focusing more on that. And I think that's a good point of, yeah, what you focus on is what you bring to yourself. What you look for is what you get. What you bring, what you pay attention to, you bring into reality. So again, focused thought is power. Now, most of us at certain points in our lives, or maybe currently, have found ourselves where the base operating system is on this like negative self-talk, worst case scenario, survival mode, trauma induced. Just gotta. This is what's kept me alive and safe. I'm not stopping this. Are you fucking kidding me? Type mentality or goggles, if you will, VR goggles, augmented reality goggles with that kind of lens on it. For me, again, I spent this last year kind of isolated, going to therapy, going to the doctor, doing some work, exercising, adjusting diet stuff, mental stuff, point of view, mindset. But I did realize at a certain point that it was again that it's my fault. That it was my fault because I was choosing to focus on certain things or feelings or past experiences, etc., etc. A lot of spaces create this what I look like. Don't quit. Quitting's for some, whatever. Like pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and you need grit. But we talk about that here. We talked about that in that being part of the code of conduct and part of the overall planning of XP Academy, right? Strength without ego, show up perfectly, challenge yourself, not others, growth over comparison. Even things like humor is welcome, disrespect is not. I want to create a space to be able to say, you know what, yeah, sometimes we got to take a self inventory and sometimes we got to call ourselves out. But being aggressive and toxic and pressuring or shaming, come on, you don't want to be a whatever you want to call it. Come on, you don't want to be a, you know, I want to create a space where it's like, let's talk about it. Where do you think it comes from? How do you feel? Again, I'm not a licensed therapist. I know this is not therapy, but it's a safe space for people to process, digest, talk it out. Sometimes, again, when you hear your thoughts out loud, you're like, wait a minute. that sounds weird. I feel like that, and then, challenge your own perspective because you actually heard it out loud, not just repeating it in silence in your head over and over again. Repeating thoughts creates beliefs, creating beliefs creates like infrastructure, behaviors, patterns, rituals. Man, I really did have a hard reset. Let's ride. Another thing again, so I want to make sure that I always want to make sure that I cover this on stream. Doesn't matter if it's a short stream, long stream. I try to say this every day. Again, it's a crazy time that we're living in. No matter what part of the spinning ball of water you're on, and sometimes it can feel like it can be a bit much. You're never alone. There's people who want to support you, but sometimes we gotta let those people know. And your mental health matters to me. Your overall well-being matters to me. I want everybody to be okay and working towards feeling better. If you're not feeling okay or doing better things, having people do better impact. I'm cycling a list of resources in the chat. Doesn't matter if you're in the U.S., UK, Canada, Australia, even if you live in Timbuktu and it's not on this list, or you're having trouble finding resources in your area, I am willing to have a conversation with you offline if you want to join the Discord, which I'll also share, or if you want to send me a whisper. Again, Mr.B with the XP at your service. I will cycle to Discord. Alright, so if you're just coming in, welcome in. My name is Mr.B with the XP. Variety streamer who tries to provide education and break stereotypes around mental health through my variety streaming of my passions, gaming, working out, cooking, art, outdoor adventures, hiking, stand-up paddleboarding, walking and talking with the dog, just keeping it real, trying to connect, support one another. Give me a break, give me a break. Let's go chase these butterflies down. Out the way. Ate! Bro, you gotta go. I'm sorry. You oh, you sorry, guys. I'm gonna catch up. I retired somebody. It's okay, hey bro. You'll be in like Cancun after you recover from that crash. Uh, sipping cocktails with umbrellas. Thank you anyway. You want to be rich, man. Damn, I dropped all the way to 8 because of that fucking crash. Yeah, I'm so exhausted. It's my corner. It's my corner. Get out of my corner. This is my corner. That's right. This is my fucking track. Get off my track. I'm gonna spoil brat. No, you can't play with my tracks. This is my track. This car's just so powerful that I have to barely flux the pedal. I'm with my hands because I saw him. So that's first place. There he is. There he is. I'm gonna cut. Hey, what is up? Keith Debbie. See, he breaks. He breaks because he has kids. He has a little digital wife somewhere. I don't. I'm gonna see the checkered flag of the devil. God, God, the devil. These cars have too much power. Much power. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm so locked in. I gotta remember I'm streaming. How was your weekend, dude? I hope that I mean, still plenty of Sunday left. Weekend been so far. I need. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. I need. That's all I need. So I want to give you my full attention. Hey, I need some advice. Well. First, let me stop right there before I read any more. I'm not in the advice giving business because if it goes horribly wrong, After I tell you what to do, I'm gonna get all the blame, and if it goes great, technically it's my credit, right? You know what I mean? So I'd rather help you come up with all the options we can discuss, come up with together, and then we'll lay them out on the table, and then you decide which one is more helpful to get you towards your goals, which is the way we always frame everything on stream. Is that cool? I'm gonna continue. So hey, I need some support in finding a solution. I feel like whenever I get into a new relationship, I get obsessed and attached super fast. How can I fix that? Um, First of all, I'd like to say thank you for feeling safe enough to discuss this shit, because that's exactly what we want to do here and what I want to provide. Number two, it takes a real man to even be able to think about, again, like think about how you're thinking, metacognition, true sign of intelligence, and to be able to say, how can I be better? Uh, uh, um, and I feel that these behaviors that I am exhibiting are not helpful to making me feel how I want to feel. Again, we don't look at things good, bad, positive, negative. We're just trying to get to what we're trying to get to. Attachment. There's something called attachment style, right? I would encourage you to maybe read read some sort of literature on like healthy attachment styles. Again, let me see. Let me get my book. All right. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the fact that I'm like, fuck these video games, right? Like, again, I'm here for the fucking people. I'm here for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I love you, man. I love you, man. I have a lot of respect and admiration, and I want to provide support and love. So, yeah, again, the video games are just a ruse to get you guys to be able to feel comfortable enough to talk about this shit, and I can provide some support. I would truly encourage you to read this book. This book is going to be life changing in regards to those kinds of things. Um, I don't want to go again. This isn't therapy, and I'm not a licensed therapist. I do understand how you feel, and I totally relate and identify with that. I used to be like that. I have been like that in my past, and it definitely stems from I mean, most of our adult problems and issues come from some sort of parental, unhealed mother wound, unhealed father wound. So if you're first of all, again, like you're fucking dope, because 90% of people aren't even fucking trying to be better. Number one. Number two, the fact that the fact that you're thinking about that level of bettering yourself. And then number three, like the fact that I'm telling you, like, bro, if you've already started to like, hey, what the fuck is this string? And you're like, I don't like that. I fucking obsess. And then if I even see them like somebody else's picture, I'm all like, what the fuck? And then you start thinking about, I'm telling you, I used to be really bad, unhealthy, and like project, again, worst case scenario, survival, lack mentality. Oh shit, everybody's trying to fuck me over, everybody's trying to hurt me. Like, that leads to, but again, all those things, it's like a giant fraction, and you just keep reducing it. Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? So the best thing that I want to do for you, again, you said you're looking for advice. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do, but what I always do personally, what's worked for me personally, is to educate myself on it. And again, you said very key important words: attached. So it's attachment style. So again, this book by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, Attached, is a very, very, very great resource to learn about attachment styles, what it looks like, thought patterns that you leave. Okay, Just open to a random page, my friend. You know how it works here on stream, the universe. We are fucking divinely supported. Thought patterns that I guarantee you this is gonna fucking resonate somehow. I just opened to a random page. Thought patterns that leave you out in the cold. As an avoidant, so there's avoidant attachment, right? Like, oh, I don't want to fucking get close to you because you're gonna end up fucking leaving me anyway. If that makes sense to you too. So again, as an avoidant, you have a skewed perspective of the things that your partner says and does. Does that make sense? Let me read that again, and then I'll kind of say it in different words. As an avoidant attachment style person, you have a skewed perspective of the things your partner says and does. Skewed. So again, let's say again your partner says something or your partner does something for you in their love language, but again you don't know their love language and you're not seeing the action or hearing the actual words because of your unhealthy attachment style. You see things different. You take it as an insult, like you think it's a backhanded, like, fuck man, it resonates with me so much, bro. I used to, again, and what do you mean by that? And it's like, I asked you if you wanted some eggs. You know, like, that's I just made that up, and that's an extreme example. But again, it's like our trauma response skew filters, distorts our perspectives, our abilities to fucking receive love, our abilities to let the other person live their life at a healthy distance and have a healthy amount of contact, because knowing that the truth is that if you know when you meet somebody and you're like, dude, I feel like we're really connected, and both of you guys are like, yeah, like I really feel like this is X, Y, and Z, and everybody's saying positive things, but then sometimes that's what you're expressing, like, oh no, but I want to talk to them all the time and I only feel good when it's like, so it's somebody that complements your life. It's not that your happiness is dependent on that person. It's somebody that's literally like the puzzle piece to you. That when they tell you, uh, I love you and you're the only person I want to be with, and et cetera, and you get to that level that you're not doubting that you know that and you feel that and you don't worry when they go to the fucking to the girls brunch alone, and you don't have to, and who's going and what time are you be back, and like, again, I'm not telling you to be stupid. I mean, there's signs, but but does that, I don't know if that even makes sense. We kind of started going everywhere with that. But number one, educate yourself. Number two, understand that it comes from something deeper. It's not about homegirl. It's about you, and again, and that you're already on the right path. So okay, yeah, I met this girl and we feel the same about each other, but like uh like when she texts, like, right, I leave it. Sure, my brain goes, yeah, I get it. For example, I totally get that, my boy, do I totally get that. Like, you're all, and then, oh, I smell, I think of you and it warms my soul like a million suns. And then they're like, yeah. And you're like, what the fuck? Did I sound stupid? Did I say too much? Did I blah, 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 yeah. You start fucking snowballing and downward spiraling. Love doesn't make you feel like that, bro. Right? Love doesn't make you feel like that. Hey, IG8. First of all, let me start giving also it's okay, it's okay. Thank you. I appreciate you for the lurk. Let me give everybody their shout outs. David, I'm sure you don't mind. I'm gonna just actually give IG8 his, since he's at work and I want him to witness it. Um IG8, I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope your shift goes smoothly. No bullshit, no drama. We're having a bit of a little mental, but actually not a little. We're having an amazing mental health moment here.
Uh, uh, um, so David, and then David, you get a shout out too, of course. You get a shout out. You get a shout out. Everyone gets a shout. Oh, what the? Everyone gets a shout out here. Everybody follow each other. Everybody gets shout outs. Everybody gets props for fucking talking about real shit with Mr. B. So again, educate yourself. Fucking read this book, Attached. I'm sure your library has it, or order it on Amazon, or go to fucking Barnes and Noble. It's probably like fucking 10, 15 bucks. I don't know. Great book. Are you anxious attachment? Are you avoidant attachment or secure attachment? How the science of adult attachment can help you find and keep love. Now, when I first read that, I was like, is this like, oh, a relationship book? But no, man. Please know that all of this stuff that we're talking about, and the stuff that I've been working on, and again, I'm not even thinking about relationships. Like I mean, it's been a long time since I've even, you know what I'm saying, and that's kind of crazy for a person like me who's always been like hypersexualized, and I think that's a trauma response. But anyway, I'm keeping myself. I'm showing myself love and all of these things that we're working on and trying to do away with and shed, and those parts of us that we're trying to just cut off, it's like it's that it starts from the inside out. Self-love, how to find self-love, how to keep self-love, how to maintain it, because you're going to deal with bullshit, but we're always remembering that it's like, know your worth, know that you're a good person, know that you have good intentions. Again, know that you're trying to be better. You know that you're the kind of, I'm sure that you're the kind of person where you're like, oh, did I do something to offend them or make them feel unsafe, or like you're considerate, you think about these things. Sometimes we think about those things too much, you know. Well, again, that's like a people pleasing thing, which also goes back to some sort of, that string goes into some sort of unhealed child stuff. Again, bro, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. I'm super proud of you. I'm here to support you through it. Uh, Straight up, if you want, I like I said, I've been saying that I'm gonna read on stream. I'm down to like just read this on stream with you and do that a couple times a week, and we can talk about it and shit. Like if it doesn't make sense, or you know what I mean? You can have the book in front of you too. We can have our own little book club, mental health book club. How does something like that sound? Or how open are you to something like that? Because again, if we do that now it's something we've scheduled. Now we've committed to some cultivating some self-discipline and challenging ourselves to do something regularly. And again, we start to see the benefits and reap the benefits of consistency over intensity. You know, we read a little bit every fucking day, or we read a lot of it every 3 days. Um, Again, and that's what the whole XP Academy and everything that I've been trying to do is all about. So I'm totally down. Again, you're basically getting XP Academy for free here for a while. I'm going to try to propose all my information a little bit more formally here. Um, but it wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have asked that question, my friend. I wouldn't have fucking paused the fucking game mid race and fucking taken off the gloves. So again, if you are down, just you already know that I am down. Uh, how regular, how much time can you commit? Like, do you like, oh, I'm pretty much free every day at this time. And if it's like in the evening, I can definitely read for like an hour a night. Not only is that helping you, that's like helping me. And one of my recent goals is like I need to get back to. That's why I said I'm going to read on stream. I was like, oh, maybe if I read on stream, it'll motivate me more to do it, because I was like, oh shit, I got to keep up with my. So you tell me how often you want to do it, and I'll make it happen. Yeah, for sure. That's dope, man. I'm proud of you, bro. And thank you for for providing us the opportunity. I'm free most days after like 7 p.m. Okay, dude. And are you Pacific Central? What's your time zone? PST, CST. Okay, okay, okay. So 7 for you is 4 for me. I mean, that's fucking perfect, dude. That's fucking perfect. That's that allows me to, even when I work those late days of manual labor, I get off at like 2, gives me time to walk the dog, come back, and we can read at like 4 or 5 for like 1 hour. Probably we can if you're free after 7, or if you need time from after 7 to whatever, like prep, shower, eat, whatever. We can do an hour from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9. But yeah, we can totally read together and talk about it like a fucking active group. You know what I'm saying? Like it's exactly what I'm trying to do. And like I said, um, and like I said, we're gonna start doing things. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Let's do that. I'm stoked, and I'm down to start tomorrow. Shit, I'm down to start right fucking now. Let me just finish this race, and then I'll fucking start reading right now. And we'll fuck. That's funny. I'll leave the stream like this, so people will think I'm playing a video game, and then they come in and we're talking about some serious shit. Like that'd be funny. That's how I wanna. That's how I wanna sneak people in here. It's like pretend that I'm driving while I'm reading. Okay. All right, let me just finish this race. I'm more than halfway through it. I'm totally dialed in with the vehicle. I'm one with the Ferrari. Where are my gloves? Oh, I literally threw them over my shoulder like, fuck this, let's stop. I'm 10 toes down for my people. All right, here we go. Yeah, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I'm gonna drive even faster to get this fucking race done. And I just put the dog in the crate so I don't have to worry about like him bothering, getting in the way. That's the perfect time. Perfect timing, universe. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Here we go. Yeah, literally like 5 8, and I'm first. That was all bad. This is helping me. This game and this quality of feel and the force feedback and how realistic this has been has helped me shift my mindset into an abundance mindset. When I'm doing this, I literally picture myself in this vehicle. I picture myself, oh man, it smells like Italian leather in here, even though I'm fucking going 150 miles an hour. Like I'm literally feeling this car bouncing around, fucking vibration and focus, thought is power. Visualization happens when you're like, I act as if I'm there. My body has been there. How am I gonna feel when I'm in Las Vegas on some track?
I'm gonna rent it for now. So I brought all my cars in this giant fucking thing that looks like. Imagine I show up with like a fucking or the one from Cars, and then just full of crazy cars that I want to test drive on the track. Just here in the track. I'm telling you, I can barely hit like 10% of. Oh, oh! That's what I was telling that kid. That kid that was super nervous at that irony event. It was he was so nervous, and I'm like, dude, you work at Ferrari, act like it. You know, like people are gonna be impressed. Like, what are you worried about? What this guy's wearing? Or who cares if he smokes weed? Again, like I was disappointed that he called me retarded for no reason. But again, uh, like you got, and it did sound like he got himself there. Something. I was like, yeah, you work at Ferrari, act like it. Man. I told him I would be smelling that leather and being like, one day, smooth, baby, smooth. I'd sit in it and pretend like somebody was gassing it up for me. Oh man, you gotta put yourself there. That way when you get the opportunity, you play like a challenge. So when I get to Vegas and I rent a car and I drive it so well that somebody's like, I'm gonna drive my race car, my race team. Video games like 6 to 8, 7, that turn and this turn. I guess there's very few sections where I can actually floor it. My cousins hated this game because of how realistic and how difficult it is. They were like, "Can we play Gran Turismo instead?" Like, of course. I want you guys to have fun. They're like, "Yeah, this is frustrating." I'm like, they're like, "A car wouldn't do that." I'm like, "Dude, a car that has 900 horsepower, like, you just floor it. You gotta chill out." In fact, I was giving TED talks on racing. You want to ease it. You want to keep the car level. Like, you don't want to break too aggressively. I was talking to them about all these different things. You want to pump the gas. You want to pump the brake. You want to back and forth like to do the river dance. Like you want to do it gently, just with your toes. And ease into the gas, not just slide. And they still couldn't control some of these cars because they're gnarly. This would be my final line. Why do I? They're like, where do I shoot the bananas? I'm like, two assholes. There's no bananas. Then you don't have one like Mario Kart? I'm like, no, I don't play things like most. Oh shit, I'm drifting a Ferrari with 15 seconds behind me. Second place is 15 seconds behind. 15 seconds. Oh, I didn't break aggressively enough. Not a bad recovery. Not a bad recovery. Pretty quick. Sweet face. Okay. Uh, um, let me use the restroom. Let me use the restroom, and we'll be back.
Yeah, and okay, cool. Like, why is there a foot cam? No foot cam. Oh, good cheating. Come on, man. Come on, man. Um, are you there, David? It's on the TV. Holy shit, that's huge. What she said. Aha! Why do I have a blue tint? Oh, because of the DJ lights. Let me turn those. On my party mode. Mhm. Class is in session. What is this? The wheel? Oh, all right. All right. This is gonna be fucking dope, dude. This is gonna be fucking dope. Oh, we're grilling steaks and making tacos tonight. I don't think I want to go there. I always go to them. I'm good. I force nothing. I'm, I'm helping my folks. I feel more needed here than eating steaks. Okay, so again, and I feel like there's still Bluetooth. Where's that blue light coming from? It's just my awesome fucking aura. Uh, Welcome to today. This is mental resilience. This would fall under XP Academy School of Experimental Mastery. So, welcome to the Life Lab. Welcome to the Life Lab. We're here to be better. This is the Department of Self Sufficiency. More specifically, we're going to be covering attachment styles. Hey, Sim. Let me give you a shout out, my friend, my friend. Another person who's always trying to be better every day. Motherfucking Ace and Force. Recently, on a new level of motivation to make changes and be better. And guess what? You came in at the fucking perfect time. I'm gonna move my chat box over to this class, this part of the class. Well, Mayor, I mean, technically, we don't need the chat, right? You guys can see the fucking chat if you're here. Why do I need it on screen? Leaves more room for my beautiful face. That works better for me. Okay. Oh, we're in an ad break. I'm sorry. Listen. Check, 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 check. Okay, I can see my mic. I just want to make sure I can see my mic. Make it smaller. Welcome to Mr. B's classroom. I don't know why I sound French. Let's fucking go, baby. Class is in session. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to be better. We're going to be talking about attachment styles. I need to change the stream info too. Shit. I need to change the stream info too. I'm excited. Look at that shit. We're fucking rolling. We're rolling. This is good stuff here. This is what the people really need. Some people don't know that this is what they need and they want. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna be like a monkey flinging poop just to see what sticks. What the fuck? So what are we gonna be? This is just chatting. Yeah, this is gonna be just chatting. There is no bedtime stories or reading time, right? So just chatting. So we're just chatting here. This is not therapy. This is not the department of strategy. This is the department. This would fall under the educational department of mental resilience. And we're talking about, well, I don't want to just say attachment styles. Learning about ourselves. That's it. And oh, boom, copy it. Boom, paste it. Boom, I'm done. Now we're ready. I feel like I'm DJing. Shit out my mouse, I got my hand, and then I'm looking over my TV. Anyway. Sorry, guys. I'm too excited. I'm too excited. You know, Mr.B. He's a goofball. So anyway, I'm gonna read to you guys, and we're gonna talk about shit. So again, I will read if anybody has questions about the passage or the sentence I just read. Again, this is a safe space. There's no stupid questions. We're here to fucking be better and learn. Um, it doesn't matter how it came up, but um, I'm not in the advice giving business. I'm always in, but I'm about trying to help you. The first way I try to help myself, and that's what I'm going to do is role model, is educate myself. Somebody we were discussing learning about attachment styles, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to educate you the way I educated myself. I have this book that I recommend, and then I offered to say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about it. Let's read the fucking book together. This is going to become a daily thing until we read this book. We're going to do an hour a day. I don't know how long we're going to fucking do it for. We're probably going to get through a lot of shit. But again, this is a safe space to discuss, ask questions without any guilt, shame, or judgment. So please, if something isn't clear or something that you want to bring up and ask and how it applies to you personally, please feel free and feel safe enough to do so. Again, the book is called Attached. It's by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. It says, are you anxious, avoid, insecure? These are attachment styles. How the science of adult attachment can help you find and keep love. This doesn't just apply to relationships, partners. It's definitely about the most important one, self-love. You know what I mean? You really got to fucking start from the inside out. If I give credit to anything in the progress I've made in the last year that I've decided to show up for myself, is that self-love. How to accept it from myself, how to show up for myself, how to anyway, great book. We're going to start reading it. This is not yeah, I'm not reading you guys the fucking Berenstain Bears, but a little bit more heavy, but we'll talk about it. Introduction: The New Science of Adult Attachment. Number one, decoding relationship behavior. I might have to turn on the fucking overhead light to hope it doesn't blow me out on that. Let me see. It makes my head shiny. Okay. But I can read a hell of a lot better. Okay, here we go. Decoding relationship behavior. Only 2 weeks into dating this guy, and already I'm making myself miserable, worrying that he doesn't find me attractive enough, and obsessing about whether or not he's going to call. Right off the bat, we're already echoing shit that we've been kind of talking about. Maybe there's some gender flipping, but again, it's like, guys, we're on the right track. Just know we're in for a lot of education and support and things that you'll be able to fucking sit at home and kind of digest and process, and probably this is going to help. Okay, I promise. So I'll manage to turn all my fears about not being good enough into a self-fulfilling prophecy, self-sabotage, and you ruin yet another chance at a relationship. What's wrong with me? I'm a smart, good-looking. Here's another. This is another entry because it's little dots. What's wrong with me? I'm a smart, good looking guy with a successful career. I have a lot to offer. I've dated some terrific women, but inevitably, after a few weeks, I lose interest and start to feel trapped. It shouldn't be this hard to find someone I'm compatible with. I can already say that I've there's stages in my life where I've related to the first young lady, and there's stages in my life where I've gone through that where I've dated a lot of amazing fucking women, and somehow I found a way to be like, nah, it's not no. Anyway, okay, here's another entry. I've been married to my husband for years and yet feel completely alone. He was never one to discuss his emotions or talk about the relationship, but things have gone from bad to worse. He stays at work late almost every weeknight, and on weekends, he's either at the golf course with friends or watching the sports channel on TV. There's just nothing to keep us together. Maybe I'd be better off alone. Each of these problems is a deeply, painfully touching upon the innermost core of people's lives. And yet no one explanation or solution fits the bill. Everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's solution might be a little different, right? Each case seems unique and personal. Each stems from an endless number of possible root causes. Deciphering them would require a deep acquaintance with all the people involved. Past history, previous relationships, and personality type are just a few of the avenues that a therapist would need to pursue. This, at least, is what we as clinicians in the field of mental health were taught and believed until we made a new discovery. One that provided a straightforward explanation for all three problems described above and many more. The story of this discovery and what came after it is what this book is about. All right, class, here we go. Is love enough? A few years ago, our close friend Tamara started dating someone new. And there's like an entry. I first noticed Greg at a cocktail party at a friend's house. He was unbelievably good looking, and I found the fact that I caught his eye very flattering. A few days later, we went out for dinner with some other people, and I couldn't resist the glimmer of excitement in his eyes when he looked at me. But what I found most enticing were his words and his implicit promise of togetherness that he conveyed. The promise of not being alone. He said things like, Tamara, you don't have to be home all by yourself. You can come and work over at my place. You can call me anytime you like. There was comfort in these statements, the comfort of belonging somewhere, of not being alone in the world. If I'd only listened carefully, I could have easily heard another message that was incongruent with his promise. A message that made it clear that Greg feared getting too close and was uncomfortable with commitment. Several times he'd mentioned that he'd never had a stable relationship. I'm going to stop right there and just kind of pause there. Earlier in the conversation, somebody talked about getting excited and just going fucking balls to the wall, flooring it, head first into the situation. When that happens and you meet somebody and upon initial acquaintance, you hit that honeymoon phase and you get to know these pieces of information about a person, right? Oh, they get excited when they see me. This is their name. This is where they work. Just there's general points of information right here. Boop, 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 boop. But again, these are just points. But your brain goes, oh, I see the circle. Sometimes you get so many, you get enough of these, but then there's like, it's almost a perfect circle, but then there's one that's way out here. So your brain goes, that's called a red flag. So that's what's happening here. We were kind of talking about how the initial part of, again, like really hitting it off with somebody, finding somebody that checks all the boxes, that makes you feel good, again, that they get excited to see you, that they offer and provide comfort in the statements that they're saying to you. But maybe there is some of those, wait a minute, that ain't a fucking square. What about that point, and that point? If you connect the dots, this is a fucking tetrahedron. Like, I can already tell that that's what this conversation is about. I don't know if you can relate to that. Let's continue with the story, see what happens, right? Okay, so I could have easily, I'm going to go back one line. I could have easily acknowledged and heard another message which was incongruent with the promises of his words. Right? Greg feared getting too close and was uncomfortable with commitment. Several times he'd mentioned that he'd never had a stable relationship. That for some reason he always grew tired of it. That for some reason he always grew tired of his girlfriends and felt that the need to move on. Though I could identify these issues as potentially problematic at the time, I didn't know how to correctly gauge their implications. All I had to guide me was the common belief that many of us grow up with, the belief that love conquers all. And so I let love conquer me. Nothing was more important to me than being with him. Yet at the same time, the other messages persisted about his inability to commit. I shrugged them off, confident that with me, things would be different. Of course, I was wrong. As we got closer, his messages got more erratic and everything started to fall apart. He began telling me that he was too busy to meet me on the nights that, or that sometimes he claimed that his entire work week looked crazy and would ask if we could just meet on the weekend. I'd agree, but inside I had a sinking feeling something was wrong. But what? From then on, I was always anxious. I was preoccupied with his whereabouts and became hypersensitive to anything that could possibly imply that he wanted to break up. But while Greg's behavior presented me with ample evidence of his dissatisfaction, he interpreted, no, he interspersed pushing me away with just enough affection and apologies to keep me with breaking up. So enabling, like, I don't like, man, you are fucking clingy, but keeping you on the line because they're enabling, they're getting something out of it, right? They feel good. They feel good that somebody's consistently there, even though they're not fully committed. Like, and again, it's hard to again be able to take that self inventory, look at yourself, and really look at it when without those fucking honeymoon rose tinted glasses. Anyway, let's keep going. After a while, the ups and downs started to take a toll. And here's the other thing. She said, from that point on, I was always anxious. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Being anxious all the fucking time is physically tiring. It's stressful. It's cortisol. It's bad for your fucking body. The chemicals that are it's like running nitrous through a fucking a motor all the time, not in short bursts. You feel me? Um, anyway, so people don't understand that sometimes toxic relationships symptoms start to manifest as physical ailments, you know. So anyway, after a while, okay, so after a while, the ups and downs started to take a toll, and I could no longer control my emotions. Boom, another sign of survival mode is, being emotionally dysregulated. Hello, for the last like fucking, I don't know, 14 years. Anyway, I didn't know how to act, and despite my better judgment, I'd avoid making plans with friends in case he called. I completely lost interest in everything else that was important to me. Before long, the relationship couldn't withstand the strain, and everything soon came to a screeching halt. The reason I'm like pausing is like these entries are like in italics, and my eyes, I probably do need glasses, especially if we're going to be doing this a lot more. Um, but those italics are fucking killing me. Anyway, so here we go. So that's the end of the entry. Now we're back to the fucking book, right? So as friends, we were happy to see Tamara meet someone new that she was excited about. But so now we're from the perspective of the group of friends. But as the relationship unfolded, we became increasingly concerned over her growing preoccupation with Greg. Her vitality gave way to anxiousness and insecurity. Most of the time, she was either waiting for a call from Greg or too worried and preoccupied about the relationship to enjoy spending time with us as she had done in the past. It became apparent that her work was also suffering, and she expressed some concern that she may lose her job. We had always considered Tamara to be an extremely well-rounded, resilient person, and we were starting to wonder if we were mistaken about her strength. Although Tamara could point out Greg's history of being unstable to maintain a serious relationship and his unpredictability, and even acknowledge that she would probably be happier without him, she was not able to muster the strength to leave. As experienced mental health professionals, we had a hard time accepting that a sophisticated, intelligent woman like Tamara had so derailed from her usual self. Why was such a successful woman acting in such a helpless way? Why would somebody whom we've known to be so adaptive to most of life's challenges become powerless to this one? A good Dickon. That was insensitive. Who wrote that there? The other end of the equation was equally puzzling. Dickmatized. Why would stop? Who said that? The other end of the equation was equally puzzling. Why would Greg send out such mixed messages? Although it was clear to us that he did love her, there were many possible complex psychological answers to these questions, but surprisingly simple, yet far reaching insight into the situation came from an unexpected source. All right. Any And anybody, like I said at the very beginning when I started, it's like, hey, anybody who has like a question or a question or comment, input, or I didn't quite get what that meant, or I didn't quite get what that meant, or you know what I'm talking about. Just please feel free to like fucking interrupt, do a blurb. Actually, IG, can you do a blurb just to see if I can hear it when I trigger them? I don't think I've heard anybody trigger any. Somebody give me some blurpage. So, okay. From the therapeutic nursery to a practical science of adult love. At about the same time that Tamara was dating Greg, Amir was working part time in the therapeutic nursery at Columbia University. Here, he used attachment guided therapy to help mothers create a more secure bond with their children. The powerful effort that attachment guided treatment, mental health, and sex. Yes, yes. Bettering yourself and mental health is very, very attractive. You really want to turn a girl on. You're like you go to a coffee shop and you're reading something like this, and then that music starts playing. Anyway, yeah. Don't send me nudes, girl. Send me receipts that you're going to therapy. Let me see the receipts that you went to. Don't send me nudes. Send me the receipts of the payment to your therapist. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you for doing the blurb. Anyway, okay, back to the book. Okay, so ba 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 ba. This guy uses attachment guided therapy to help mothers create a secure bond with their children. The powerful effect that attachment guided treatment had on the relationship between mother and child encouraged Amir to deepen his knowledge about attachment theory. This eventually led him to fascinating reading material, findings that made by Cindy Hazan and Philip Shaver indicated that adults show patterns. I need a highlighter, bro, for real. That adults show patterns of attachment to their romantic partners similar to the patterns of attachment of children with their parents. Remember what I talked about? I was like, hey, dude, it's all fucking going back. It's all going back. It's either an unhealed mother wound or it's an unhealed father wound, my guy. Like, and again, I'm not in the advice giving business, but again, the things we talked about is like education, finding support in what you're talking about. And then the other thing I would say is like, if possible, if you have insurance or it's in your budget, like, I said when I couldn't afford it, I went to like, what was that, BetterHelp. But yeah, like talking to a therapist about this too. This is not therapy. Sometimes a therapist can really help you fucking go there and process and digest. This is just a place to kind of, I'm just planting seeds here, bro. I'm just planting seeds. Okay, so let's keep going. So blah 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 blah. And again, this is I don't want to skip this, but it's breaking down like it's breaking. This is we haven't even really gotten into the book. This is basically the two doctors who wrote this book talking to you guys about how we stumbled upon the entire infrastructure to our study on attachment styles, how it breaks down, where it comes from. They're kind of giving you a little bit of a fucking background on how they stumbled on the information. So yeah, he realized that this kind of insight could have an astounding implication for everyday life and could help many people in their romantic relationships. The first thing that Amir did was once he realized that the far-reaching implications of attachment theory for adult relationships was to call his longtime friend Rachel. He described to her how effectively attachment theory explained the range of behaviors in adult relationships and asked her to help him transform the academic studies and scientific data he'd been reading into practical guidelines and advice that people could use to actually change the course of their lives. And that's how this book came to be. Holy fucking shit. It's what I want to do and what I'm doing. What the fuck? Yes. Thank you. I hear you, universe. Anyway, I'm gonna start crying. The anxious, and the avoidant. Adult attachment designates three main attachment styles or manners in which people perceive and respond to intimacy in romantic relationships, which parallel those found in children. Secure, anxious, and avoidant. Basically, secure people feel comfortable with intimacy and are usually warm and loving. Anxious people crave intimacy, are often preoccupied with their relationships, and tend to worry about their partner's ability to love them back. Avoidant people equate intimacy with loss of independence and constantly try to maintain and minimize closeness. In addition, people with each of these attachment styles differ in their view of intimacy and togetherness, the way they deal with conflict, their attitude towards sex, their ability to communicate their wishes and needs, their expectations from their partner and relationship. And then you want to hear something fucking crazy is that as we were reading through that the descriptions of the different styles and what my brain was seeing was like the different styles and like the negative, behaviors, symptoms that come with it. I felt like, wait a minute, fuck, dude, I have all of them somehow. I somehow have all of them, like, fuel or, and again, maybe it's just because I've changed over the years, but I can identify with all of those at certain points in my life. All people in society, whether they have just started dating someone or have been married for 40 years, fall into one of these categories, or more rarely into a combination of the latter two, anxious and avoidant. Just over 50% are secure, and 20% are anxious, 25% are avoidant. And the remaining 3 to 5 fall into the fourth less common category, combination, anxious, and avoidant. That's me. Or was me at one point. Adult attachment research has produced hundreds of scientific papers and dozens of books that carefully dateline the way in which adults behave in close romantic ties. These studies have confirmed many times the existence of these attachment styles in adults in a wide range of countries and cultures. Understanding attachment styles is an easy and reliable way to understand and predict people's behavior in any romantic situation. Pattern recognition, trauma, has is what taught me that. I'm like, oh, I know how you're gonna fucking act next week. I've fucking experienced this before. I've fucking been through this relationship stage right here, like that kind of shit. Okay, so here we go. These studies confirm many times over that the existence of these attachment styles in adults in a wide range of countries and cultures. Understanding attachment styles, there you go, is an easy and reliable way to understand and predict people's behavior. I gotta stop saying. In fact, one of the main messages of this theory is that in romantic situations, we are programmed to act in a predetermined manner. All behavior is learned. We are pre-programmed to act in a certain manner. Keep that in mind. Now there's like a little subsection, and then it says, where do attachment styles come from? Initially, it was assumed that adult attachment styles were primarily a product of upbringing. Thus, it was hypothesized that your current attachment style is determined by the way in which you were cared for as a baby. If your parents were sensitive, available, and responsive, you should have secure attachment style. If they were inconsistently responsive, you should develop an anxious attachment style. If they were distant, rigid, and non-responsive, you should develop an avoidant attachment style. Today, however, we know that attachment styles in adulthood, are influenced by a variety of factors, one of which is the way our parents cared for us, but other factors also come into play, including our life experiences. David, tell me what part specifically got you. Tell me more. Maybe you're having a moment. I'll let you. But again, yeah. Oh, here we go. How anxious comes from not enough support. Of course. Anybody who has the concern of I don't know where that's coming from next can cause anxiousness. It can be something as simple as a return text, or people who experience housing instability, food instability. Like, where's my next fucking meal coming from? That's definitely gonna, it's not having enough support, not having enough resource can that's it causes anxiety and stress. It applies to relationships as well. All right. So Tamara and Greg. Tamara and Greg, a fresh perspective. We pinned our friend Tamara's story. We revisited our friend Tamara's story and saw it in an entirely new light now. Attachment research contained a prototype of Greg, who had an avoidant attachment style accurate down to the last detail. It summarized how he thought, behaved, and reacted to the world. It predicted his distancing, his finding fault in Tamara, his initiating fights that set back any progress in their relationship, self-sabotage, and his enormous difficulty in saying, I love you. Intriguingly, the research findings explain that though he wanted to be close to her, he felt compelled to push her away, not because he wasn't into her, because he thought she's not good enough, as Tamara concluded. On the contrary, he pushed her away because he felt the closeness and intimacy increasing. As it also turned out, Tamara wasn't unique either. The theory explained her behaviors, thoughts, and reactions typical for someone with the anxious attachment style, with surprising precision as well. It foresaw her increasing clinginess in the face of his distancing. People talk about this push pull dynamic, right? And how some people who understand certain things in sociology and human behavior, like guys who like become womanizers because they understand things, right? Like negging somebody, how using your attention and pulling it back. Like, really, I used to be a fucking asshole like that, like subconsciously not knowing it, like, oh, this is fucking great, this is, oh, I'm so connected with you, and tell me more. And then being like, oh shit, I made a mistake, and then fucking instantly like, anyway. So increasing cleanliness, mutters her up. It showed advice, most importantly. It foresaw her increasing clinginess in the face of his distancing, the push pull. That's where I stopped. I got to stop doing the ADD shit. Sorry, guys. In the face of his distancing, it predicted her inability to concentrate at work, her constant thoughts about the relationship, Her oversensitivity to everything Greg did. It also predicted that even though she decided to break up with him, she could never muster up the courage to do so. It showed why, against her better judgment and the advice of her close friends, she would do almost anything to try to be close to him. Most important, the theory revealed why Tamara and Greg found it so hard to get along, even though they did in fact love each other. They spoke two different languages. They exacerbated each other's natural tendencies, hers to seek physical and emotional closeness, and his to prefer independence and shy away from intimacy. The accuracy with which the theory described the pair was uncanny. It was as though the researchers had been privy to the couple's most intimate moments and personal thoughts. Psychological approaches can be somewhat vague, leaving plenty of room for interpretation, but this theory managed to provide precise evidence-based insight into a seemingly one-of-a-kind relationship. Although it's not impossible for someone to change his or her attachment styles, on average, 1 in 4 do so over a 4-year period. Most people are unaware of the issue, so changes happen without their even knowing that they have occurred or why. Wouldn't it be great though? We thought if we could help people with some measure of control over their life altering shifts. What a difference it would make if they could consciously work towards becoming more secure in their attachment styles instead of letting life sway them with every which way. Learning about these attachment styles was a true eye opener for us. We discovered that adult attachment behavior was everywhere. We were able to view our own romantic behaviors and those of the people around us in a fresh new light. By assigning attachment styles to patients, colleagues, and friends, we can interpret their relationships differently, gain more clarity. Their behavior no longer seemed baffling and complex, but rather predictable under the circumstance. So I talked to you guys about, the trauma informed care approach, which is what I've tried to adopt into everything we've planned and built here, right? I've taken the things that I've learned professionally, and I've said that's a great fucking basis, and that's what it is when you learn about the behavior, you learn about where it comes from, you understand it. We're not excusing it, you understand it. When you understand the behavior, when you understand where it comes from, it becomes less triggering and you have much more insight into it, which titrates down and lets you become less triggered by the situation. You have more control of the situation. It's just, you have a deeper understanding of it. Anyway, okay, moving on. Evolutionary ties. Any David? Is everything making sense? Does anybody else have any questions? Or again, I know I'm not fucking reading Lord of the Rings to you guys over here, but again, this started because everybody good? Okay. Again, I'll assume that everything's Gucci. Cool. I'll assume that everything's Gucci if, I don't know, just fucking, do me a favor and just, why am I cursing? Try not to curse. Just, shoot a little emoji every once in a while. That'll let me know that everything's good. It's only when it goes like completely dead that I'm like, so even if I'm reading, just fucking put stop cursing. Just put a rascal emoji. Evolutionary ties. Attachment theory is based on the assertion that the need to be in a close relationship is embedded in our genes. It's not like, again, so to understand that, you know what I mean? Like, please don't, like, that way you don't guilt, shame, judge yourself. You have to understand that this is pre-programmed into your fucking genes. Okay, it was John Bowlby's stroke of genius that brought him to the realization that we've been programmed by evolution to single out a few specific individuals in our lives and make them precious to us. Holy shit, that's crazy. When I read that, that fucking hit different. Wow. Okay. So we've been bred to be dependent on a significant other. The need starts in the womb and ends when we die. Bowlby proposed that throughout evolution, genetic selection favored people who became attached because it provided a survival advantage. In prehistoric times, people who relied on only themselves and had no one to protect them were likely to end up as prey. More often than not, those who were with somebody who deeply cared about them survived to pass on to their offspring and preference to form intimate bonds. In fact, the need to be near someone special is so important that the brain has a biological mechanism specifically responsible for creating and regulating our connection with our attachment figures, parents, children, romantic partners. This mechanism, called the attachment system, consists of emotions and behaviors that ensure that we remain safe and protected by staying close to our loved ones. That was a lot. Okay, cool. The mechanism explains that by staying close to our loved ones, oh no, the mechanism explains why a child parted from his or her mother becomes frantic, searches wildly, or cries uncontrollably until he or she reestablishes contact with her. Those reactions are coined protest behavior, and we still exhibit them as grown-ups. In prehistoric times, being close to a partner was a matter of life and death, and our attachment system developed to treat such proximity as an absolute necessity. Imagine hearing news of a plane crash in the Atlantic on the evening your partner is flying from New York to London. That sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach and that accompanying hysteria you'd feel would be your attachment system at work. Your frantic calls to the airport would be your protest behavior. So it literally broke it down. It literally broke it down for you right there. You know, like where it comes from, how it would manifest. Like it gave you an example of how it could look in real life. That's good that it's breaking it down. I haven't read this book in a long time. I'm glad we're doing this, guys. An extremely important aspect of evolution is heterogeneity. Humans are very heterogeneous species, varying greatly in appearance, attitude, and behaviors. This accounts to a great extent for our abundance and for our ability to fit into almost any ecological niche on Earth. Adaptable. If we were all identical, then any single environmental challenge would have the potential to wipe us all out. Our variability improves the chances that a segment of the population that is unique in some way might survive when others wouldn't. Attachment style is no different from any other human characteristic. Whoa, think about that. Think about that. That they can attachment style. Although we all have a basic need, something we've also talked about on stream, Maslow's hierarchy, the pyramid of human needs, right? Although we all have those basic needs to form close bonds, the way we create them varies. In a very dangerous environment, it would be less advantageous to invest time and energy in just one person, because he or she might not likely be around for too long. A dinosaur might eat them. It would make more sense to get less attached and move on, and hence the avoidant attachment style. Another option in harsh environment is to act in the opposite manner and be intensely persistent and hyper-vigilant about staying close to your attachment figure, hence the anxious attachment style. In a more peaceful setting, the intimate bonds formed by investing greatly in a particular individual would yield greater benefits for both the individual and his or her offspring, hence the secure attachment style. True. In a modern society, we are not hunted by predators or as our ancestors were, but in the evolutionary terms, we're only a fraction of a second away from the old scheme of things. Our emotional brain was handed down to us by Homo sapiens who lived in a completely different era, and it is their lifestyle and the dangers they encountered that our emotions were designed to address. Our feelings and behaviors in relationships today are not very different from those of our early ancestors. Protest behavior in the digital age. So it was what I also liked how it was talking about how the protest behavior would manifest in a more modern time, when it was talking about the frantic calls of like, let's say you heard of a plane crash and you know that your partner is on a transatlantic flight. You don't know if it's you're trying to find out what flight, what was it Southwest? Was it theirs? Was it Anyway, that those frantic calls, those are the protest behaviors. So we're gonna get in a little deeper about protest behavior in the digital age. Armed with our new insights about the implications of attachment styles in everyday life. David, thank you so much for letting us know that everything's making sense. Dude, that hit. I do that sometimes. Again, thank you for having the balls and the courage to be vulnerable and to be like, yeah, bro, like I do that. Again, you're taking that self inventory and you're looking at yourself and trying to be better. We all have probably done some, if not all of this shit at some point in our lives or will, but remember, we're just all at different points in the trip, man. And we're all a lot more similar than different. And only through educating ourselves and bettering ourselves do we learn and experience those things. And because we're having this conversation as a group, like, it's even better than just reading the book, because you're actually, we're able to take the time to be like, dude, that actually hit. Because now as you continue to read, I'm sitting here offshooting on this branch of thought and being better because of it. I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, that hit. I do that. Just by acknowledging I do that, that means that now I'm using logic. That also acknowledges that you mean that you understand that you don't have to do that. That it's more helpful to getting to your goals by acting this way. So again, you're just by seeing it, recognizing it, and starting the fucking boop, 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 you're forming new connections and thought processes and literally being better. And all we're doing is having our little fucking story time. And people are complaining about if people are complaining about drag queens reading stories to their kids, I mean, somebody might get pissed about me reading mental health shit to the public, right? Again, I'm not a licensed therapist. This is not therapy. We're just having our men's group reading. Oh, it's not a men's group. Everybody's welcome. Our safe space reading time. Okay, so here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Protest behavior in the digital age. Armed with the new insights. That's where we were. Armed with our new insights about the implications of attachment styles, knowing how those things look and play out in everyday life, we started to perceive people's actions differently. Behaviors that we used to attribute to someone's personality traits or that we had previously labeled as exaggerated. Anybody ever told you you're exaggerated? Could now be understood with clarity and precision through the lens of attachment. Our findings shed a new light on the difficulty Tamara experienced in letting go of a boyfriend, like Greg, who made her miserable. It did not necessarily come from weakness. It originated instead from a basic instinct to maintain contact with an attachment figure. And again, only because we had that previous conversation do we understand what a fucking attachment figure is. All of this is going to be cumulative and stacked into fucking amazing XP. Again, welcome to XP Academy. My name is Mr. B with the XP. This is the Department of Mental Resilience today. We're learning about ourselves via attachment styles. Okay. For Tamara, the need to remain with Greg was triggered by the very slightest feeling of danger. Danger that her lover was out of reach, or unresponsive, or in trouble. Letting go in these situations would be insane in evolutionary terms. Using protest behavior such as calling over and over again or trying to make him feel jealous made perfect sense when seen through that lens. What we really liked about the attachment theory was that it was formulated on the basis of the population at large. Unlike many other psychological frameworks that were created based on couples who come to therapy, this one drew its lessons from everyone. Those who have happy relationships and those who don't, those who never get treatment and those who actively seek it. It allowed us to learn not only what goes wrong in relationships, but also what goes right. And it allowed us to find and highlight a whole group of people who are barely mentioned in these relationship books. What's more is the theory does not label behaviors as healthy or unhealthy. Sound familiar? None of the attachment styles is in itself seen as pathological or contrary. On the contrary, romantic behaviors that had previously been seen as odd or misguided now seemed understandable, predictable, even expected. You stay with someone although he's not sure he loves you. Understandable. You say you want to leave, and a few minutes later, you change your mind and decide that you desperately want to stay. Understandable too. But are such behaviors effective or worthwhile? How do we say it? Are they helpful or less helpful? More helpful, less helpful? That's a different story. People with a secure attachment style know how to communicate their own expectations and respond to their partner's needs effectively without having to resort to protest behavior. For the rest of us, understanding is only the beginning. David says, I never thought about all that being protest behavior. Yeah, yeah. Again, what we're doing through educating ourselves is broadening our understanding of a situation or subject and widening our lens and our depth into it. You're gonna start to see things differently, dude. Just by us having this initial kind of group and talking about it and the things that we're learning, I'm telling you, I'm planting seeds, dude. And if you keep, watering yourself by, again, if we do stick to doing this every day you're gonna be better every fucking day. It's like working out every day, but you're working out your fucking brain and your attachment style, and your mental health and your fucking soul. Again, after a couple of days, even after the first week of just reading and understanding, you're gonna feel different. You're gonna have more confidence. You're gonna probably stop doing half of these behaviors after a couple of days of just listening to this. You're gonna understand your own behavior and where it comes from and how to fucking be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not gonna text again. I already said what I wanted clearly. I feel confident that I've communicated what the information you know what I'm saying? Like, we're on the right track as a group, guys. I'm proud of you guys. I'm again, even getting to this point of where we're at now and we're sitting here and we're talking about it and we're reading. That's fucking huge. It's fucking huge. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I keep putting my finger down and then again. ADD. Using formulated basis, protest behavior. Okay. From theory to practice. Okay, so now that's even in our fucking student that's even in our student leveling system at XP Academy, right? You're going to go from initiate to apprentice, apprentice to practitioner. So again, you're front loaded with skills and information. This is the structure. This is how it works. Now let's go from theory to fucking putting it into action. So from theory to practice, developing specific attachment-based interventions being the strategies and techniques you're going to deploy when you identify, oh shit, I'm having a bit of an attachment behavior situation here. These are the strategies, techniques, things that I do when I feel that happening so I don't fall into that previous behavior I'm trying to avoid. So by understanding that people vary greatly in their need for intimacy and closeness, and that these differences create clashes, adult attachment findings offered us a new way of looking at romantic relationships. Again, also the other, I'm gonna ADD. I said I wasn't gonna do it, and I instantly do it. I keep saying the word relationships, and right now we're early on in the book, and it's talking a lot about partner relationships. Again, also apply these concepts to self-love, to yourself, your own attachment style, and again, do you show yourself that love? And again, well, everything that I've done and everything that I've built here and everything I've experienced has been like, it starts from the inside out, baby. Love yourself, become that shining light, and you will be the trap that all the bugs come to, but you got to work on being that brightest light, but that light coming from, I'm aligned, I feel good about who I am, Again, no attachment. I don't need it. I mean, at this point for me, I'm like, I don't force anything. I don't need it. You know where I'm at. Somebody needs me, that type shit. Anyway. But while the research made it easy to understand romantic liaisons better, how can we make a difference in them? The theory held promise of improving people's intimate bonds, but its translation from the laboratory to an accessible guide that people can apply to their own lives didn't exist. Believing that here lies a key to guiding people towards better relationships, we set out to learn as much as we could about the three attachment styles and the ways they interacted in everyday situations. We started interviewing people from all walks of life. We interviewed colleagues and patients, as well as lay people of different backgrounds and ages. We wrote summaries of the relationship histories and romantic experience that they shared with us. We conducted observations of couples in action. We assessed their attachment and at times offered specific attachment-based interventions. We developed a technique that allowed people to determine in a relative short period of time someone else's attachment style. We taught people how they could use their attachment instincts rather than fight them in order to not only evade unhappy relationships, but also uncover the hidden pearls worth cultivating, and it worked. We literally just talked about how I said applying it to yourself. And we discovered that unlike other relationships, interventions that focus mostly either on singles or on existing couples, adult attachment is an overarching theory of romantic affiliation that allows for the development of useful applications for people in all stages of their romantic life. There are specific applications for people who are dating, those in early stages of relationships, and those who are in long-term ones. For people going through a breakup, those who are grieving the loss of a loved one, the common thread is that adult attachment can be put to powerful use in all of these situations and can help guide people throughout their lives to better relationships. Putting insights into action. After some time, attachment-related lingo became second nature to the people around us. We all start to educate ourselves with vocabulary, understanding what's protest behavior, what's and then we start to talk it. Now you're an apprentice, and then you're going to be a practitioner, and you start to fucking talk and do. We listened to them during a therapy session. I see people in chat talking certain ways, and I'm like, yeah. Anyway, dude, everything's so aligned. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm telling you, we are not only on the right path, but I'm telling you, I'm like the Kool-Aid man. I'm about to fucking break through a wall. Like, oh yeah. Whew, I'm so ready. We'd listen to them during a therapy session or a dinner saying, I can't go out with him. He's clearly avoidant. Or, you know me, I'm anxious. A short fling is the last thing I need. To think that until recently they weren't even aware of the three attachment styles. Tamara, of course, learned everything there was to know about attachment theory and about the new discoveries we'd made. She brought the subject up in in every conversation we held. She finally had summoned the strength to break off her loose ties with Greg. Shortly afterward, she began dating again with a vengeance. Equipped with a newly acquired attachment knowledge, Tamara was able to elegantly dodge potential suitors with an avoidant attachment style who she now knew were not right for her. People whom she would have spent days agonize over in the past, analyzing what they were thinking, whether they would call or whether they were serious about her, fell by the wayside effortlessly. Instead, Tamara's thoughts were focused on assessing whether the new people she met had the capacity to be close and loving in the way that she wanted them to be. After some time, Tamara met Tom, a clearly secure man, and their relationship developed so smoothly that she barely discussed it. It wasn't that she didn't want to share intimate details with us, it was that she had found a secure base and there were just no crises or dramas to discuss. Most of the conversations now revolved around the fun things they did, their plans for the future, or career, which was in full swing again. Um, I've heard some people have an insight that, you know, love, 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 healthy relationship. It doesn't make you feel fucking butterflies and excitement and panic, and it makes you feel peace. It makes you feel comfort. It makes you feel secure. Again, I mean, even the only reason I'm getting emotional is again because all of this applies to me personally in the form of self love, of identifying unhealthy behaviors and letting those go, and then those don't serve me. They're not helpful, and it might look like fun. It might look like something you want to do, but whoa, 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 love yourself. That's not how you would show up for yourself. Let that go. Let that relationship go. Let that situation go. Let that thought process go. And David, again, I'm super proud of you. Thank you for even getting this ball rolling. And I'm glad that it's something you're relating to. And if you're relating to, I'm sure that it's helping you. And that's the only reason I'm here, dude. It's the only reason I'm here because I'm trying to help. And if I can help through uh, providing education and discussing and providing a safe space to make sure we're all on the same page and understanding it, and or whether it be role modeling that I'm an emotional person, that it's okay to cry, whether you're excited about the future or you're overwhelmed with gratitude and alignment, and that brings joyful tears to you. These All of these things are okay. That's what we're all about here. XP Academy is a safe space for all that shit. So thanks for being here, guys, and again, thanks for contributing to the safe space and the vibe, and holding space for me. By being there and participating with me in the chat, you're holding space for me to process and digest my own thoughts and feelings. So again, might not be heavy trauma stuff, but again, you're allowing me to acknowledge that it's okay for me to feel so happy that that I do this. It's important for me. It's important for you to see. Thank you for holding that space for me to be able to do that. It's super important. You're an integral part of this place. All right. So going forward, this book is the product of our translation of attachment research into action. We hope that you, like our many friends, colleagues, and patients, will use it to make better decisions in your personal life. In the following chapters, you'll learn about each of the 3 adult attachment styles and about the ways in which they determine your behavior and attitudes in romantic situations. Past failures will be seen in a new light, and all your motives, as well as the motives of others, will become clearer. You'll learn what your needs are and who you should be with in order to be happy in a relationship. If you are already in a relationship with a partner who has an attachment style that conflicts with your own, you'll gain insight into why you both think and act as you do, and learn strategies to improve your satisfaction level. In either case, you'll start to experience change. Change for the better, of course. Chapter 2. And number one, and then I'm gonna that end of chapter 1 literally for us is like, like when a movie starts and it's like the title sequence hasn't even fucking come on, and it's like action that fucking hooks you, and you're like, oh shit, okay, I've got some basic information. I'm stoked. I think I'm getting a fucking picture of what this movie's gonna be about. And then it's like, boom, attachment. That's where we're at. We've learned some vocabulary, we've learned some concepts, we've learned some foundational fucking information about attachment and attachment styles and how it might apply to us already. And we're already learning about the change we might be able to invoke through further educating ourselves. David says, talking about self love, you made me realize that if I was a person standing in front of me, I wouldn't I wouldn't treat myself like this. Damn. Yeah, man. I've had to look at myself like that too, and look at the situation like that too. That's why the more I read this, like, yes, it's really harping on romantic relationships and partners. But for me, when I first read this book, it wasn't for that. I thought it was for that. I thought it was for that, but the way it transformed, the way it impacted my life was, again, yeah, I was applying it to me, and that's the way it really stung me. The way you phrased it, that was the exact same thought I had. Was I deserve better, and I wouldn't treat myself like that if I really loved myself. And the decision to, I'm gonna show myself love. And sometimes that, again, that self love is not to the person you're looking at in the mirror. It's little David. It's little Mr. B. Identifying the need. Again, brother, like you're starting to understand this, but like I said, the thread goes deeper. The thread goes deeper. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat because I have it on my TV as a second monitor, but I have to remember that the camera's here and I'm talking to you, bro. And I'm proud of you for learning, for starting to learn and understand about this and how it's affecting your relationships currently, and how this applies to this, and how this really goes back to some sort of unhealed mother wound or unhealed father wound, and that there's some healing to the inner child, the little David inside didn't have some need met. The little Mr. That's and again, I'm just saying your name, but it's really about what I've experienced and learned. But I can tell that it's resonating with you. Is again, this goes deeper, man. And if anybody who's in the group or participating is feeling emotional, like, do it. I'm role modeling because I'm showing you that that's the best way to process and digest and reprogram, like through crying and releasing this emotion and purging these distorted thought processes and distorted perspectives. We're purging and deleting. We're emptying the recycle bin, and we're allowing these thoughts and new thought processes and new ways of processing to really get in there. Let the bad shit out and let the good shit in. And again, you're on your way. You're building a foundation. You're broadening your perspective. You're broadening your scope of vision on your own life and where you can go with it, dude. So again, I'm here to do this as often as possible. Shit, that was probably like an hour of reading. I'm not saying I'm stopping right now, but again, I have already openly at the beginning of this made the commitment to do this every day for an hour. This is like part of our mental health gym, right? and we'll do it until we get through it. That was like maybe 1/10, maybe to less than 10% of the book. But again, I'm down to continuously do this until we finish the book and talk it out. Talk about how it applies to us and how it hits and how it's helping. Hopefully, hopefully again we're consistent. Consistency is greater than intensity, and then we can talk about how we're starting to see things different, how we're applying it, how we're reaping benefits, and how we're feeling better about it. I can already tell you that in reading these things, it's reminded me that I've read this book before, and it's kind of rekindling the fact and ideas of things that I might not be practicing in the moment that I've learned and covered before. So again, I'm already feeling benefits. I can already tell that I'm gonna look at things a little different and remind myself about my attachment styles and the progress I've made and the changes I've made in that, and how I see behavior differently. Even now, I've talked about it since I don't. That's what we're gonna call it. In my timeline of healing, we'll refer to that event as the hard reset. The hard reset of getting the flu, fasting for 3 days on like literally water with salt and maybe 2 spoonfuls of fucking broth. Again, having the flu is what made fasting for 3 days so much easier. It was like an inadvertent fast, flushing parasites, resetting my gut by only eating like fresh fruit. Bless my aunt for bringing me that care package, and just eating fresh fruit and broth, letting my system reset itself, and just feeling different, viewing things differently, feeling more regulated, understanding what I'm seeing and feeling now. Again, just brain fog felt like it had been lifted. I've never gotten emotional reading before. This is a great tool. Well, and if you're, first of all, thank you for even sharing that you are getting emotional, if that's the case. Even more so, brother, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being a man who's willing to get emotional. Shit, knowing you're getting emotional again makes me emotional because I'm happy, proud. This is what I'm trying to do. This is the whole point. And dude, this is what I believe is my why, my life's purpose, my reason, my gift. And what we're doing is fulfilling that. So bro, you're helping me check all the important boxes in what I'm trying to do, in my purpose, in feeling successful in what I'm doing. Again, even if it's there's a couple of us here, but you're the one being the most active and in chat and participating and talking about, and you're being the most vulnerable. You're being the most transparent. You're the fucking chat VIP today, brother. You're the you're the real VIP, man. You're breathtaking. You're the man. You're the man, dude. Like honestly, to think about just the things you've talked about and the way you've been able to again be take self inventory and be practice metacognition. Like, how am I thinking about things and how does this apply to me? Like, it's really impressive, bro. I see all that, and it's impressive, my friend. It's impressive. That's for you. Just a little, just to lighten the mood, buddy. But I mean, yeah. I'm proud of you, dude. We're doing some, bro. You're part of something major, homie. Like, I want you to know that this is really the first. This will be the first iteration of a structured, formal XP Academy session being successful and effective. I'm even looking around at the background that I created like months ago for just like a random art project we did, and how much it looks like the room I would practice art classes and provide my psychoeducational groups at the drop-in center in downtown. Like, it kind of looks like Tay Academy mixed with a classroom that I would have put together with the kind of like art empowerment, expressive art projects, artwork, and student examples on the walls. And but at the same time, we'd sit in that room and we'd talk about some real shit. And I would discuss certain concepts, and I would have certain worksheets. And I'm again, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Mr. B is 7,369. You are not where you want to be, but you're right where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you need to be. David says, I realized after most of it, I realized after most of this, it's not with partners, uh, it's with everyone. It affects everyone I've met. Hmm. Yes. That's an amazing insight that you're having. Yes. That it's not just your partner, it's with what was the term they used? When talking about the caveman and like the figures, the people we assign like importance to, all that shit. It's not just partners, it's people in your life, people in your support system, people in your family. Like you have an attachment style to. Yeah, it's not just your partners, brother. Exactly. You're check out the big brains on Dave. Like Pulp Fiction. Check out the big. I'm proud of you, brother. You're really fucking. Not only. Listen, this is a perfect fucking iteration of exactly what I'm trying to do with my fucking life. Is I was on here playing a video game. We started talking about some real shit. You asked me for specific information. I stopped what I was fucking doing, literally threw the gloves over my shoulder, but provided you with education, resources, and tools for you to play with this, and you are already extrapolating that. Like, you're already applying these tools, you're already playing with these ideas, concepts, and pieces of information, and your brain is playing with it, rearranging it, processing it, applying it, and inputting it into your own personal life, and you're seeing other shit. You're like, bro, this is not just about my relationships, this is affecting everybody in my life. I see that. Like, that should be across my screen right now. Like that meme with that guy, like, you're literally like the meme where all the calculations of like the fucking hangover. Like, you're like, oh, it's clicking. It's clicking. Like, that was easy, right? So like, we've literally just been talking and learning about something that you wanted to change and improve in your life. And you asked me, and we're fucking doing. You know how, like, when you start playing a video game and those first initial stages of leveling up your fucking XP and your character, like, pretty easy. It's like, boo, 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 like, oh man, in this 2 hour session, I was able to level up my character's XP fucking three times, three whole levels. Like, you are currently leveling up, my friend. Again, in XP Academy, let me see, can I read my mission statement from here? Remember that at XP Academy exists to help individuals like you level up your. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go read it because I have my conspiracy theory wall with everything on it. XP Academy exists to help individuals level up their physical, mental, emotional, and creative lives through lived experience. We build discipline through action, resilience through challenge, and connection through shared growth. So what we're doing here, we're shared growth for sure. We're challenging ourselves to look at ourselves and be like, where can I be better? How does this apply to me? Where am I fucking up? How can I be better? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna move this little studio light, so I can look at I'm gonna move my television. Again, I feel like I should have the entire XP Academy infrastructure behind me instead of I can be like, see today. And honestly, that's what I should be doing is like I shouldn't have a goofy background. Like I literally should have like a whiteboard. And you guys know me. I'm always like, oh, I want to draw it and make it make sense visually and talk about the idea. We really got to shift this into a fucking classroom. We're going to become more intentional and impactful and efficient, and this will be more like a classroom in the near future. I already have a fresh board on the wall. I'm gonna ignore the dog. The dog is still in a fit. Okay, chapter 2. Dependency is not a bad word. Oh wait, hold on. Are we good? Are we good to move on? We good to move forward? Everybody caught up. Nobody wants to say anything. Is everybody there? Maybe somebody's taking a pee pee break. I don't know. Okay. Yes. All right. So, chapter 2, dependency is not a bad word. Please let that sink in. Please let that sink in. I'll read it again. Dependency is not a bad word. We're trying to understand, not guilt, shame, or judge, right? Okay, so a few years ago on TV, on a TV reality show that features couples who race against each other around the world. Oh, sounds like a mess. And perform challenging tasks. Karen and Tim were the show's dream couple. Beautiful, sexy, smart, and successful. In the face of the various challenges they encountered, intimate details about their relationship emerged. Karen wanted to get married, but Tim was reluctant. He valued his independence, and she wanted to get closer. At certain high pressure moments during the race, and often after arguments, Karen needed Tim to hold her hand. Tim was hesitant to do so. It felt too close, and besides, he didn't want to succumb to her every whim. By the last show, Tim and Karen were leading the race. They almost won the big cash prize, but at the finish line, they were beaten. When they were interviewed for the season finale, they were asked if in retrospect they'd do anything differently. Karen said, I think we lost because I was too needy. Looking back, I see that my behavior was a bit much. Many times I needed Tim to hold my hand during the race. I didn't know why it was so important to me, but I've learned a lesson from that, and I've decided that I don't need to be that way anymore. Why did I need to hold his hand so much? It was silly. I should just kept my cool. I should have just kept my cool without needing this gesture from him. Tim, for his part, said very little. The race in no way resembled real life. It was the most intense experience I ever had. During the race, we didn't even have time to be angry at each other. We just dashed from one task to the next. Both Karen and Tim neglected to mention an important fact. Tim got cold feet before a joint bungee jump challenge and almost quit the race. Despite Karen's encouragement and reassurance that she too would be jumping with him, he just wouldn't do it. It reached the point that he took off all of his gear and started walking away. Finally, he mustered the courage to take the challenge after all. Because of that particular hesitation, they lost their lead. Adult attachment theory teaches us that Karen's basic assumption that she can and should control her emotions, needs, and soothe herself in the face of stress is simply wrong. She assumed the problem was that she is too needy. Research findings supports the exact opposite. Getting attached means that our brain becomes wired to seek the support of our partner by ensuring the partner's psychological and physical proximity, closeness, and well being. If your partner fails to reassure us, if your partner fails to reassure us, we are programmed to continue our attempts to achieve closeness until the partner does. If Karen and Tim understood this, she would not feel ashamed of needing to hold his hand during the stress of a nationally televised race. That's practicing being gentle, guys. Just looking at, and again, the beginning of the chapter, dependency is not a bad word. Being gentle with yourself is a gentler way of just looking at yourself and your behavior. For his part, Tim would have known that the simple gesture of holding Karen's hand could give them the extra edge they needed to win. But instead, he was like, I don't want to give in to her every whim. Dude, all you got to do is fucking hold her hand and you'll win and get closer. Indeed, if he knew that by responding to her need early on, he would have had to devote less time to putting out fires caused by her compounded distress later. He might have been inclined to hold her hand when he noticed that she was starting to get anxious instead of waiting until she demanded it. What's more, if Tim was able to accept Karen's support more readily, he would have probably have bungee jumped sooner and not lost the lead. Attachment principles teach us that most people are only as needy as their unmet needs. Let me read that again. Attachment principles teach us that most people are only as needy as their unmet needs. One more time, just so it really fucking gets in there, and so you know that this is something important. That's why I'm reading it 3 times, and 3 is a magical number. I'm going to read it again. Attachment principles teach us that most people are only as needy as their unmet needs. That one, I'm telling you, that one's even hitting me right now. I've made a lot of progress, but there's always room for improvement and growth. And that one even hit me right now. So when their emotional needs are met, and the earlier, the better, they usually turn their attention outward. This is sometimes referred to in attachment literature as dependency paradox. The more effectively dependent people are on one another, the more independent and daring they become. Message. Karen and Tim were unaware of how this is going to be so much clippable information, fucking moments here, guys. This is funny. Karen and Tim were unaware of how to best use their emotional bond to their advantage in the race. Okay, and then the next section, it's like, we've come a long way, but not far enough. It's so aligned, even with the way I speak about it before it's in the goddamn book. Whoo, we are so on the right path. We're in a groove. We're in a flow state right now. We've come a long way, but not far enough. Karen's self-blaming view of herself as too needy, something I've actually done myself too, and Tim's obliviousness to his attachment role are not surprising and not really their fault. After all, we live in a culture that seems to scorn basic needs for intimacy, closeness, and especially dependency, while exalting independence. We tend to accept this attitude as truth to our detriment. The erroneous belief that all people should be emotionally self-sufficient is not new. Not too long ago in Western society, people believed that children would be happier if they were left to their own devices and taught to soothe themselves. Then attachment theory came along and turned these attitudes, at least towards children, around. In the 1940s, experts warned that coddling would result in needy, insecure children who would become emotionally unhealthy and maladjusted adults. Bro, 1940s, I feel like that's me. I feel like my mom kind of maybe over sheltered and protected and provided for me sometimes and caused me to be a little bit of that, but that's neither here nor there. Parents who fuck. Oh, dude, I felt something in my arm. Am I having a heart attack? No. Parents were told not to lavish too much attention on their infants, to allow them to cry for hours, and to train them to eat on a strict schedule. Children in hospitals were isolated from their parents and could only be visited through a glass window. Social workers would remove children from their homes and place them in foster care at the slightest sign of trouble. Damn, this is hitting to fucking current society and mental health practices and social work in general right now. The common belief was that a proper distance should be maintained between parents and their children, and that physical affection should be doled out sparingly. In Physical Care of Infant and Child, a popular parenting book in the 1920s, John Brodus Watson warned against the dangers of too much love and dedicated the book to the first mother who brings up a happy child. Such a child would have an autonomous, fearless, self-reliant, adaptable, problem-solving being who does not cry unless physically hurt, is absorbed in work and play, and has no great attachments to any place or person. Bro, it sounds like a robot to me for a second. But before the groundbreaking work of Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby, the founders of attachment theory, in the 50s and 60s, psychologists had no appreciation of the importance of the bond between a parent and child. So I mean, the truth is that everything in balance. We're striving for excellence, not perfection, and life is about balance. So there is some truth to like not over coddling, and there is some truth to the importance of affection. But ultimately, it's like balance. I mean, bro, but think about that. 1920s to the 1940s, like when I mean my probably closer to when my mom was born. So again, like it's not these kinds of principles, and think about that, bro. That the previous generation before you was brought up with that. Their parents had that in mind more so. So then now that even gives you the vision of understanding like your parents' behavior. And again, we're not a trauma-informed approach, trauma-informed care. Like we're looking at things trauma-informed. Like now I understand. I'm not excusing, but I understand, and I see how it played out in our relationship and how it's affected me and how I can be better. But through this combination of uh love and safe space and education to be able to explore that, and also the foundational kind of rigidity. It's a balance. You're learning to meet in the middle and be your most aligned best version of yourself. Okay. So a child's attachment to her mother was seen as a byproduct of the fact that she offered food and sustenance. The child learned to associate her mother with the nourishment and sought her proximity, her closeness as a result. Bowlby, however, observed that even infants who had all of their nutritional needs taken care of but lacked attachment figure was the term, such as in infants raised in institutions or displaced during the Second World War, failed to develop normally. It's necessary. It's necessary. You can't just raise a robot. I mean, that even played out with like animals. I can remember when I was studying psychology in school that studies where these animals were fed like robotically and their needs were met, and then other samples were like fed with like a puppet of let's say it was a bird, and the ones who were fed and coddled and like kind of caressed by the puppet, even though it was being fed by the same human, one was fed like with this robotic non-affection, but all the boxes were checked. But yet, yeah, they don't develop the same. We need we need that connection. And again, I also think that this is important we're discussing now, because in this day and age, I feel that we're stepping away from that connection. We're stepping away from that human need that we have. That the more we use our cell phones and stare at our screens and use AI, and we're stepping away from these understandings, these practices, this human need and connection we need. We need, even though the fact that we're doing this via the Twitch platform, we're doing it. We're sharing this information, and we're broadening our understanding, so we're not as affected by it. At least we're literally ahead of the game. And all I want to do is provide that for everybody else. Is get everybody. I don't want to be up here alone. I want to bring everybody. Let's bring everybody, guys. Jug, get in. We're going shopping. Anyway, here we go. Attachment needs. They're not just for children. Message. Bowlby always claimed that attachment is an integral part of human behavior throughout the entire lifespan. Then Mary Main discovered that adults too can be divided into attachment categories according to the way in which they recall their early relationships with their caregivers, parents, which in turn influences their parental behavior. Translation: they realize we become our parents, right? Cindy Hazan and Philip Shaver, independently of Mary Main's work, found that that adults have distinct attachment styles in romantic settings as well. They first discovered this by publishing a love quiz in the Rocky Mountain News, asking volunteers to mark the one statement out of 3 that best described their feelings and attitudes in relationships. The 3 statements corresponded to the 3 attachment styles and read as follows. Let me get something to drink because my throat's getting dry. Today's mental health brought to you by Rain, Total Body Fuel, Sour Gummy Worm Flavor, BCAAs, amino acids, electrolytes, caffeine. Tastes delicious, gives you a charge. Rain, murder your thirst. Rain, you can send me a shitload of these if you want. I love these. Ooh, so sour. Okay. The 3 statements corresponded to the 3 attachment styles and read as follows. Oh shit. David, are you in an ad? I know some people are subbed and they don't have ads, but I don't know if you're subbed, so I don't know if can you hear me? David, can you hear? No, you're not in an ad. Perfect, bro. Let's keep rolling. Okay. So the 3 attachment styles, and they read as follows. I find it relatively, and again, this is the love quiz a la Rocky Mountain News, and people were asked to choose one statement that they best identified or most identify with. The 3. So this is number 1. I find it relatively easy to get close to others and am comfortable depending on them and having them depend on me. I don't often worry about being abandoned or about someone getting too close to me. Measure of the secure attachment style. The second statement read, I am somewhat uncomfortable being close to others. I find it difficult to trust them completely, difficult to allow myself to depend on them. I am nervous when anyone gets too close, and often love partners want me to be more intimate than I feel comfortable being. Measure of the avoidant attachment style. The third read, I find that others are reluctant to get close as I would like. I often worry that my partner doesn't really love me or won't want to stay with me. I want to merge completely with another person, and this desire sometimes scares people away. Measure of the anxious attachment style. Remarkably, the results showed a similar distribution of attachment styles in adults as found in infants. Crazy. That's crazy. Think about that. So again, that's also evidence to prove your hypothesis that it's genetic. That you're born with this fucking predisposed like desire and need. Well, no, again, that it ceases to be a desire and is a fucking need. It's not a want, it's a fucking need. It's crazy. And then that plays out into adulthood. That same behavior plays itself out and is shown as baby behavior, and eventually is shown the same way but differently as adults. That's crazy. Uh, 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 Here too, most respondents fell under secure category, and the remaining subjects were divided between anxious and avoidant. And we talked about that statistic early on, right? 50, 20, 25, and there was like a 3 to 5% outlier, which were combined. The researchers also found that each style corresponded to very different and unique beliefs and attitudes about themselves and their partners and their relationships and intimacy in general. True story. Further studies, especially about the self-distorted thoughts and self-distorted perceptions, further studies by Hazan and Shaver and others corroborated these findings. It appears as though Bowlby speculated attachment continues to play a major role throughout our entire lifespan. Very true. The difference is that adults are capable of a higher level of abstraction, meaning we can fucking think about this. You ever heard it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility? It's not your fault it happened to you, but you're a fucking smart, a fucking adult who can extrapolate and fucking use this and understand it and apply it and change it. It's not your fault it happened. I'm always down, and I totally support the goodwill hunting approach of like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You really have to accept that and grieve that and feel it. It's not your fault. But then after that, but it is our responsibility. And guess what? You don't have to do it alone. That's what I'm here for. So anyway, here we go. The difference is that adults are capable of a higher level of abstraction, so our need for the other person's continuous physical presence can at times be temporarily replaced by the knowledge that the person is available to us psychologically and emotionally. So again, I might not need you to be around me, but I'm like, but I know I got you. I know you need me. I know I got you on the hook. Sometimes that's the way it looks. But the bottom line is that the need for an intimate connection and the reassurance of our partner's availability continues to play an important role throughout our lives. Like, is that person there or not? And are you thinking about that all the time? Like Tamara early on in the book, right? Unfortunately, just as the importance of parent-child bond was disregarded in the past, today the significance of adult attachment goes unappreciated. Among adults, the prevailing notion is still that too much dependence in a relationship is a bad thing. Ah, the codependency myth. The codependency movement and other currently popular self-help approaches portray relationships in a way that is remarkably similar to the views held in the first half of the 20th century about the child-parent bond. Remember the happy child who is free of unnecessary attachments? Today, experts offer advice that goes something like this. Your happiness is something that should come from within and should not be dependent on your lover or your mate. Your well-being is not their responsibility, and theirs is not yours. Each person needs to look at himself or herself. In addition, you should learn not to allow your inner peace to be disturbed by the other person you're closest to. They're having a bad day doesn't mean you're having a bad day, and your ability to not let that happen. If your partner acts in a way that undermines your sense of security, you should be able to distance yourself from the situation emotionally, keep the focus on yourself, and stay on an even keel. Keep yourself baseline. If you can't do that, there might be something wrong with you. I don't like the way that's kind of phrased, but there might be something going on. I'm gonna fucking edit for you to be a little bit more strength based. You might be, you might no. I mean, maybe that's just that's a certain level of accountability. Okay, so there might be something wrong with, your attachment style. You might be too enmeshed with the other person or codependent, and you must learn to set better boundaries. The basic premise, and again, I'm not even saying that they're not even saying that that's right. They might be setting us up for a little bit of a twist, right? The basic premise underlying this point of view is that what the ideal relationship is one between two self-sufficient people who unite in a mature, respectful way while maintaining clear boundaries. Like I said, somebody who complements your life, puzzle piece that fits into your life, that is already walking parallel in the similar direction, and you guys are just basically holding hands now. You feel me? The basic premise underlying this point of view is that the ideal relationship is one between two. Oh, I just said that. If you develop a strong dependency on your partner, you are deficient in some way, and we are advised to work on yourself or become more differentiated and develop a greater sense of self. The worst possible scenario is that you will end up needing your partner, which is equated with addiction to him or her. And in addition, we all know is a dangerous prospect. While the teachings of the codependency movement remain immensely helpful in dealing with family members who suffer from substance abuse and was the initial intention, they can be misleading. So already they're telling us, again, that's why I was like, bro, they're like setting us up for almost like a twist here. Um, they're talking about balance again. They're talking about balance again. It's like, yes, it is that find somebody who complements and fits into the puzzle piece, but no, the dependency thing is a real thing. It's not only talking about like genetically, and look how it plays out if you don't take care of it from babies into adulthood. Like it's breaking it down to biological, genetic. It's talking about we need a little bit of both. We need a little bit of both, a little bit of balance. It's not, again, but are you willing to look at that? Are you willing to see, are you willing to take that self-inventory and fuck, am I out of balance? And which way am I out of balance? And fuck, how do I need to change this? Like, but we're just here to try to be better every day. They need to get out of my head. David. Yeah, so again, like if these bells are ringing true, then again, just take solace and peace and comfort in, then again, these bells need to be rung, bro, for a reason to fucking clear that shit and increase your vibration. Shit, that's the reason real bells don't exist. That's a real, again, it's probably where the term comes from. Again, we need to ring these bells, bro. We need to ring these bells to clear this energy and snap out of that fucking distorted vision. Man, this fucking rain is kicking in quick. Oh, no, it's not that bad, but where are we? Okay, so the biological truth. Numerous studies show that once we become attached to someone, the two of us form one psychological unit. It's like some Steven Universe type shit. Our partner regulates our blood pressure, our heart rate, our breathing, and the levels of hormones in our bloods. We are no longer separate entities. The emphasis on differentiation that is held by most of today's popular psychology approaches to adult relationships does not hold water from a biological perspective. Dependency is a fact. It is not a choice or a preference, going back to how we were talking about that they identify it as a need. A study conducted by James Cohen is particularly illuminating to that effect. Dr. James Cohen is the director of the Affective Neuroscience Laboratory at the University of Virginia. He investigates the mechanisms through which close social relationships and broader social networks regulate our emotional responses. In this particular study, which he conducted in collaboration with Richard Davidson and Hilary Schaefer, he used functional MRI technology to scan the brains of married women. While these women were being scanned, Dr. Cohen and his colleagues simulated a stressful simulation by telling them that they were about to receive a very mild electric shock. Normally, under stressful conditions, the hypothalamus becomes activated. And indeed, and again, this is something we've talked about brain biology, flipping your lid, the fucking amygdala. I'm really, again, everything is aligning, guys. Everything in its place. Everything in its place. Sorry, I'm just overwhelmed with joy. Normally, under stressful conditions, the hypothalamus becomes activated, and indeed, this is what happens in the experiment to the women when they were alone awaiting the shock. Their hypothalamus lit up. Next, they tested women who were holding a stranger's hand while they waited. This time, the scan showed somewhat reduced activity in the hypothalamus, and when the hand that the women held was their husband's, the dip was much more dramatic. Their stress was barely detectable. Furthermore, the women who benefited most from their spousal handholding were those who reported the highest marital satisfaction. But we'll get back to that point later. The study demonstrates that when two people form an intimate relationship, they regulate each other's psychological and emotional well-being. Their physical proximity and availability influence the stress response. How can we be expected to maintain a high level of differentiation between ourselves and our partners if our basic biology is influenced by them to such an extent to want to fucking become one, to want to naturally do like that Steven Universe shit when you really connect in love with like a partner? It seems, how do we fight that when it's biologically programmed to do that? It's again something that allows us to be gentle with accepting the fact that that is going to happen. Don't be of that old school mindset of like it shouldn't be that way. It's like it is what it is. It's balance. It seems that Karen, from our example, instinctively understood the healing effect of holding her partner's hand under stressful conditions. Unfortunately, she later gave in to common misconceptions and viewed her instinct as a weakness, something to be ashamed of. It's like we're fucking speaking about the shit before the book starts to speak about the same thing. Well, before brain imaging technology was developed, John Bowlby understood that our need for someone to share our lives with is part of our genetic makeup and has nothing to do with how much we love ourselves and how fulfilled we feel on our own. He discovered that once we choose someone special, powerful, and often uncontrollable forces come into play. New patterns of behavior kick in regardless of how independent we are and despite our conscious wills. Once we choose a partner, there is no question about whether dependency exists or not. It always does. An elegant coexistence that does not include uncomfortable feelings of vulnerability and fear of loss sounds good, but is not our biology. We proved through evolution that to have a strong survival advantage is a human couple becoming one psychological unit, which means that if she's reacting, then I'm reacting. Or if he's upset, that also makes me unsettled. He or she is a part of me, and I will do anything to save him or her. Having such a vested interest in the well-being of another person translates into a very important survival advantage for both parties. Now, is that going to serve us? Because we don't necessarily need to be on that survival level anymore. Despite variations in which people with different attachment styles learn to deal with these powerful forces, the secure and anxious types embrace them, and the avoidance tends to suppress them. All three attachment styles are programmed to connect with a special someone. In fact, chapter 6 describes a series of experiments that demonstrates that avoidance have attachment needs but actively suppress them. Ooh. Does this mean in order to be happy in a relationship, we need to be joined with our partner at the hip or give up other aspects of our lives, such as our careers or friends? Paradoxically, the opposite is true. It turns out that the ability to step into the world on our own often seems from the knowledge that someone besides us whom we can count on, like they're still going to be there. They're not going to take off if I go play golf with my friends. They're not going to get mad at me because I want to go to school or get a job. This is the dependency paradox. The logic of this paradox is hard to follow at first. How can we act more independent by being thoroughly dependent on someone else? If we had to describe the basic premise of adult attachment in one sentence, it would be: Be prepared to listen. Important sentence coming. If you want to take the road to independence and happiness, find the right person to depend on and travel it with that person. Once you understand this, you've grasped the essence of attachment theory. To illustrate this principle, let's take another look at childhood, where attachment starts. While adult and childhood attachment styles are not one and the same, nothing better demonstrates the idea we're conveying than what is known in the field as the strange situation test. The strange situation test. Sarah and her 12-month-old daughter, Kimmy, enter a room full of toys. The friendly young research assistant is waiting in the room and exchanges a few words with them. Kimmy starts to explore this newfound toy heaven. She crawls around, picks up toys, throws them to the ground, and checks whether they rattle, roll, or light up while glancing at her mom from time to time. Then Kimmy's mother, instructed to leave the room, she gets up quickly, quietly, and walks out. The minute Kimmy realizes that has happened, she becomes distraught. She crawls over to the door as quickly as she can, sobbing. She calls out to her mother and bangs on the door. The research assistant tries to interest Kimmy in a box full of colorful building blocks, but this only makes Kimmy more agitated, and she throws one of the blocks in the research assistant's face. When her mother returns to the room after a short while, Kimmy rushes towards her on all fours and raises her arms to be held. The two embrace, and Sarah calmly reassures her daughter. Kimmy hugs her mom tight and stops sobbing. Once she is at ease again, Kimmy interest in the toys reawakens and resumes her play. The experiment Sarah and Kimmy participated in is probably the most important study in the field of attachment theory, referred to as the strange situation test. The version described here is an abbreviated version of the test. Mary Ainsworth was fascinated by the way in which children's exploratory drive, their ability to play and learn, could be aroused or stifled by their mother's presence or departure. That one hit too. She found that having an attachment figure in the room was enough to allow a child to go into a previously unknown environment and explore with confidence. This presence is known as a secure base. It is knowledge that you are backed by someone who is supportive and whom you can rely on with 100% certainty. And turn to in times of need. A secure base is a prerequisite for a child's ability to explore, develop, and learn. I didn't feel that all the time as a kid. And even now I can definitely see different ways in how that played itself out and how I've grown and progressed out of those stages. But again, just right now, even reading certain things is still allowing me to gain more insight. Again, this isn't just helping you guys, it's definitely helping me as well. This is important for all of us. A secure base for grown-ups. As adults, we don't play with toys anymore. Yeah, right. What do you mean? But we do have to go on into the world and deal with novel situations and difficult challenges. We want to be highly functional at work, at ease and inspired in our hobbies, and compassionate enough to care for our children and partners. If we feel secure, like the infant in the strange situation test when her mother is present, the world is at our feet. We can take risk, be creative, pursue our dreams. I'm just now realizing um, over the last year, I have learned and worked on a lot. Um, but that more importantly, over the last year, I have become my own secure base in my body, in my head, which is why I've been able to accept myself and love myself and be creative and explore every idea that I'm having and do everything I'm doing now. Is that, you know, again, maybe I didn't feel that I had a secure base all the time. I'm not saying that I felt insecure, fear all the time, but that there was definitely times that I didn't feel I had that, and how it plays out and how it played out in my life, and how all the work I've done in the last year has led me to accomplishing just that. Is I got me. I am my secure base. I am somebody I can depend on 100% of the time, and will support myself and accept myself emotionally, and won't judge my reactions and responses and tears and sensitivities. I do acknowledge all the other needs of, I need family. I need sense of belonging, but you guys are also a part of that. A secure base is definitely important. And if you can just take the time, and you can also, if you're acknowledging that maybe you didn't have a secure base all the time, that you start looking at how that played out, is playing out, or has played out in your life, and where you can adjust it and again be better. This is all great shit, guys, by the way, because again, this is exactly what I want to be doing. So this was the whole point. This was exactly what I've been working towards, David. So I really appreciate you, dude. And again, yeah, man, let him let him come, bro. It feels good. Feels good, to feel it. That's why they're called feelings, man. Feel them. Because once you feel them, you stop to fear them and suppress them, and then you can acknowledge them, appreciate them, and regulate them more. Like I'm allowing myself to cry now, but I've also been practicing feeling those emotions at certain times, and then wrangling that and transmuting that energy and directing it towards, like, my dreams or something. So there is times where it's okay to cry. And again, if you're at home, and we've been doing fucking an hour and a half, 2 hours of group work here of some pretty heavy shit. Like you've been having a lot of revelations and realizations, and you're learning a lot, and you're awake. You're like opening your eyes to a lot of crazy shit. Like it's to be expected to feel some emotion. And again, I'm just so proud of you for not just allowing yourself to get there physically, which you again you're getting. You could have candidly gotten to that level emotionally and physically, but the fact that you're willing to share that with us on stream and in the chat and with the community is I'm proud of you, bro. Like you're acting like a true fucking man. You know, you're being a real man. You're probably being a better man than most people. Again, like most people are not trying to be better. They're stuck in that survival mode, and when you're in survival mode, you're not even looking at how can I be better. You're just trying to stay alive. You feel me? And it's no guilt, no shame, no judgment. When I say better man, I don't mean like looking down. I'm just we're all at different vibrations at different points, right? But like you're again, bro, in the last 2 hours, you've really kind of fucking leveled up the bar, like and spun around. You probably done like 3, 4 levels already in the last 2 hours. Self-awareness, metacognition, understanding of attachment styles, taking self-inventory of your own behaviors, thought process, distorted thinking patterns. How can I change them? What would be more helpful to getting me closer to how I want to feel? Like Vato, you're killing it right now, dude. And I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. So maybe that could be something you've never even fucking heard or acknowledged or thought about yourself is celebrate the progress, celebrate the achievements. Sometimes because I've been through so much shit, achieving the healing has to be acknowledged and celebrated in those little stages of leveling up because it's important. And for me, when you acknowledge and celebrate those leveling up because it was mandatory. I had to do it. I had to get better. I had to heal. Like, okay, yes, but again, you're making progress. You're doing good. You're better than yesterday. Consistency is better than intensity. And if we can do stuff like this and be a little bit better every day, bro, we're going to be unstoppable. Can't lose when you get to this. When you get to understanding these things, and then you just keep stacking, bro. I have so many books like this, bro. I could just have a channel where I'm just reading every fucking day. I mean, maybe I need to start creating different channels for this kind of shit. Maybe I'm trying. Maybe that's the issue is that I'm trying to squeeze too much on this stream. Maybe I need to be really intentional and focused on that, which is why I want to transfer to the school community. That's for $5 a month. $5 a month, we'll do this all day, every day, you know. And then that allows me to like check, have a goal setting session with people and progress checks and Discord where people can track their progress. And I wrote down today that's 10 speed, like 5 minutes of deep breathing, reflection, 10 speed, all in due time. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Everything I desire is coming to me. I'm just so certain. I just have to relax and keep doing what I'm doing. Some millionaire is gonna fucking like, here you go, here's your I believe in what you're doing, and I will fund it. Here, here's the. I have to know. Sorry, yeah, it's just because I'm not talking directly. Sorry. Again, I just have to. I don't have to know how it's gonna happen. You just have to remember it's gonna happen. I was starting to talk a little low and to myself and inconsistently, so the microphone is trying to isolate like speech. So anyway, how about now we're back to normal? Or is the audio okay? Um, secure base for grown-ups. Let me. I got to pee again. Give me a second. Yeah. Check, 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 check. Okay, cool. Welcome back to the class. Okay. We Gucci? Yeah, we're good. I don't even know who gave me this one. I think I bought it. Okay, here we go. A secure base for grown-ups. Um, sorry, give me a second. Okay. We can take risks, be creative, and pursue our dreams. And if we lack that sense of security, if we are unsure whether the person closest to us, our romantic partner, truly believes in us and supports us and will be there for us in times of need, we'll find it much harder to maintain focus and engage in life. That applies to, like probably how you would look at a parent. You were a child. True story. As in the strange situation test, exactly what I just said, going back to that. When our partners are thoroughly dependable and make us feel safe, and especially if they know how to reassure us during the hard time, holding our hands, room full of toys, not texting us back because it went somewhere, we can turn our attention to all the other aspects of life that make our existence meaningful. Meaning when you ain't worried about that shit because you know she loves you, you're gonna be happier. And when you're happier, you're gonna do better work in this world and you're gonna fucking explore the shit that you want to explore and you're gonna keep your body healthier by eating the shit you want to eat and you're gonna do exercise and take care of your body, keep yourself longevity because you want to be with this person as long as possible at a certain quality of health. Making sense? Does that make sense? We getting it? We getting it? Is the mathing? Uh, 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 so again, when you really have that security and that you're not stressed about the bullshit, you're free to explore the things you want to explore, which are going to benefit your even the strength of your relationship. But it is important to understand, like it also said, to identify when your partner has a need that has to be met when they're having that moment of difficulty. When is the metaphor, when is your moment to hold Karen's hand? You know what I'm saying? Like when is your moment to reassure Tim that don't worry, we're gonna jump together and we're both gonna bounce right back. Like when is your what is your partner's need that's not being met? Again, David, you're now graduating to the level again, even in this session, to be able to now you're going to approach a situation and have the vision of, okay, we're all humans, we all have needs. This human is having a need not being met. What need is that? Like, look at me, hear me, make me feel safe. Does that make sense? Like you're going to be able to be like, this is not about the dishes. This is about uh, 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 I don't feel seen because they're doing a lot and I'm not acknowledging it and I haven't done the. Does that make sense? Like, Dad, hey Dad, you proud of me? See, I'm doing exactly what I said I was gonna do. That was um, that was my need to be seen. But I'm sure my dad is here. I'm sure my dad is proud of me. But maybe that was my need. That's me expressing my need, like wanting my dad to see me. But again, I'm sure he is here with me, seeing me, and I do miss him. Yeah, like I wish, yeah, I wish my dad was here. And I could talk to him about, like he would give a fuck. He would give a fuck about what I'm doing. You know, I feel like my community and strangers are the ones who clap the loudest and support me the most. And sometimes I feel like my most immediate family has no clue or gives no fucks about what I'm doing or understand me. My mom says she cares and she supports me, and but like I know she doesn't really quite understand me, you know. I'm just like, I'm gonna go make my videos. Like that's the easiest way I try to explain it to her. But I know my dad was a sensitive soul who struggled with his own mental health. So I know that he would get as excited as I am about what I'm trying to do and what we are doing and what we're building and where it's going. And he's guiding us, protecting us. Yeah, like my former self would be like apologizing for being emotional. Right? Like I'm trying, I'm being making a conscious effort to not be like, oh, stop for crying, guys. Okay, I'm sorry for blowing my boogers in front of you, but I'm not sorry for crying. If anything, I appreciate you for holding space for allowing me to cry and miss my dad. Fuck, no, I was on this page. Oh, yes, yes. Okay. So we can turn our when again, especially if they know how to reassure us. If our partner knows how, especially if our partner knows how to reassure us to make us feel safe, they know. But during the hard times, we can turn our attention to all the other aspects of our life that make our existence meaningful. Brooke Feeney, the director of Carnegie Mellon University Relationship Lab, illustrates how a secure base works in adult relationships. Dr. Feeney is particularly interested in studying the way in which partners get and give support to each other and the factors that determine the quality of that support. In one of her studies, Dr. Feeney asked couples to discuss their personal goals and exemplary opportunities with one another in the lab. When participants felt that their goals were supported by their partner, they reported an increase in self esteem and an elevated mood after the discussion. Makes sense. They also rated higher the likelihood of achieving their goals after the discussion than before it. Participants who felt that their partner was more intrusive and or less supportive, on the other hand, were less open to discussing their goals and did not confidently examine ways for achieving those goals and tended to downgrade their goals during the course of the discussion. Speaking to when you're supported, you feel confidence in executing and completion. When somebody's like, well, you don't know. That's a fucking bad idea. And that's not how it works. Like when instead of just somebody who's like, we're gonna figure this out, supportive is like, dude, people were literally changing their goals. Not only are you like less prone to talk about it because you feel somebody's gonna talk shit, or just the vibe they bring to you when you talk about it is just like you're like you literally start downgrading your goal. Well, maybe I should just fucking shoot down. So again, be mindful of who you surround yourself with, or not even who you surround yourself with, but like who you talk about your again discussions have with a partner, somebody who's going to support you. Don't discuss everything with anybody, everybody. uh, David, like how you're saying, this doesn't just apply to partners. This applies to everybody in your life. You know, you talk to somebody and you're talking about your fucking passion, your life, your goal, and it's like how we categorize things. Is it more helpful or less helpful towards getting me to where I want to be or feeling how I want to feel? Like you're not again. Get with the shits or get out the fucking way is really what it boils down to. If I'm gonna put it in Aries energy, get on board this fucking train or get the fuck out of the way. Choo choo, motherfuckers. All right, here we go. Back to Karen and Tim, our reality TV show couple. In many ways, their experience is a close adult equivalent to the strange situation test for children. Just as Karen needed Tim's hand for encouragement and Tim gathered enough strength from Karen's reassurance, Kimmy wanted her mother's presence. Karen engaged in protest behavior, not agreeing to continue until being held, having her hand held, just as Kimmy had done when she called out for her absent mother. Both needed the reassurance of their attachment figures before they could focus on the other task. Only once their secure base was restored could they go back to their other activities. That's crazy to think about too. But at least she had the insight, right? She was the only one that once interviewed upon completion was had the insight of like, you know what? Why? Why did I need him to hold my hand? I didn't need him to hold my hand. I should have done what I needed to do and just stay cool. He didn't quite have that introspective moment, right? All right. Finding the right I don't mean to interrupt. Oh yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect. I was gonna say, you gotta let me know when we find a good place to stop. I actually think that's a perfect place to stop. So yes, yes. Tomorrow, so anybody who's on stream right now, anybody who's in chat, thank you so very much. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna probably change streams because I gotta cook something, so maybe I'll stream that right now too. But tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, which will be 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we are going to continue with our attachment style study by reading Attached. We're going to try to do this as often as possible, every day for at least an hour a day. Uh, uh, um, Tomorrow at 7. So yeah, 4 to 5 tomorrow Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us for some more work in the Life Lab, the Life Laboratory here at XP Academy. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate you because this wouldn't have fucking happened without you. And I'm glad that I stopped racing and started facing some real shit. Anyway, I love you, man. I'm proud of you too. Let's find somebody to rate this out too. And then if I do start a cooking stream right now, I will do it from my cell phone. Make sure you're following so you get the notification every time I go live, guys. What a fucking great stream, dude. What a great fucking stream. I'm so stoked. I'm so fucking just let's go to Diablos. And Diablo tomorrow at 7. I gotta put it on the fucking on the calendar. Why can't I rate the devil? The fuck? What do you mean I can't rate him? Because he's the only one viewing my stream, probably. What the fudge? Yeah, it is. That is why. What about Bryce? What about Bryce? Yeah.